So, my friends, welcome to a new meme update video. Today it's about Bitcoin Hyper 2. Someone in the community mentioned it last week and asked me to take a look at it. That's why I just went ahead and checked it out. So, there's a new meme coin here, Bitcoin Hyper Layer 2, supposedly the first Bitcoin Layer 2, although I have to say that's actually a bit of a lie, because it's not really a true Layer 2. Still, you have to admit, this thing has already raised $1 million. I think it was about a week ago, maybe half a week or so, something like that, when it was announced in my Telegram group, someone said, "Hey, check this out," and so on, blah blah blah. And since then, this thing has already raised $1 million. So it's wild, now that prices are starting to rise everywhere again, all these meme projects are definitely getting louder. It's definitely interesting at this point. Yeah, Bitcoin Hyper, shaping the future of Bitcoin. Here, they're specifically trying to focus on Bitcoin, which of course is now close to its all-time high again. That obviously makes sense. They're talking about a 732% staking yield here. You know my opinion on that. If you do it, go 50-50. That means, for example, if you invest $100, put 50% here and 50% into staking, because it's always so much, but most of the time it doesn't go well when the thing launches and then immediately. Your tokens are locked for a week. It's always like that, and then the thing usually dumps, so those 237% don't really help you, except in very rare cases, like back then with Paper Unchained and maybe one or two other projects. Alright, let's take a quick look at their Twitter channel just to be cautious. Okay, it's active and they're posting regularly. That's why they already have 12,000 followers here, and you can also see it here before. When was the milestone? On June 6th. So, 3 or 4 days ago they hit 500,000, and now we're already at $1 million in here. Yeah, Bitcoin Layer 2 bridge. The user deposits BTC to a specific Bitcoin address monitored by Bitcoin Hyper's Cannon bridge. The Bitcoin Relay Program, an SVM smart contract, verifies the Bitcoin block headers and transaction proofs. After successful verification, an equivalent amount in BTC is minted on Bitcoin Hyper Layer 2 in a trustless manner. Users can send and receive BTC on Bitcoin Hyper Layer 2 almost instantly. Okay, that's cool, but in my opinion, even nowadays, or even if you're sending larger amounts, like 1 BTC or something, it doesn't really take that long to send Bitcoin. And I haven't heard anyone complain, or really heard of anyone who has actually complained about it. And there are already other solutions for that nowadays. But okay, you have to admit, they're trying to solve a problem here, or at least they want to solve a problem, and then you can see here, users initiate a withdrawal request on Layer 2 of Bitcoin Hyper. The system checks the Layer 2 status and generates a proof for the canonical bridge. After validation, the corresponding BTC is returned to the user's Bitcoin address on Layer 1. So they're trying to find a middle ground here, to make things a bit faster and offer an interim solution. Okay, I kind of get the point. Still, the question remains, do we really need something like this? Let's just leave that open for now. We have the tokenomics, 20% for marketing. Okay, that's probably why this thing is going to take off. Listings, 10%. It depends on which exchanges it gets listed on, and development gets 30%. I actually don't think that's so bad. You saw it with Solaxy, things are really moving forward there. So, real work is actually being done. That's something I generally like to see here as well, that they say, okay, we're actually delivering updates here. Hey, look, this and that. This is what we're working on right now, etc., etc. Why is Bitcoin Hyper important? Does it solve Bitcoin's biggest issue? Slow transaction speeds, high fees. Okay, yeah. Is it really that slow? Let's leave that aside for now, but the high fees. Yeah, is it really like that? By now, there's Lightning and stuff like that. Although it's not implemented everywhere yet. Tough. At least here they're trying out another idea, maybe as a temporary solution in case other solutions get overloaded. Okay, that makes sense to me. Definitely something you can try out. Important, CoinSalt has definitely been checked here. Very, very important point. Because there you can also see the contract address and so on. But it's on the Ethereum blockchain. Like I said, of course they want to do a Layer 2, but it's still on the Ethereum blockchain and all that. Yeah, that's fine. You can probably tell I'm a bit conflicted about the whole thing. I don't think it's bad to create layer solutions. Okay. But does it have to be in the form of meme tokens? Let's just leave that open for now. Yeah, you probably have to do it so that it gets a ton of attention and so that this thing really takes off, or at least so that something more happens here. They chose the name Hyper, which obviously creates even more hype, but also because they want to ride the wave of this hype token that's currently huge thanks to the exchange. So that's already a logical step. It all makes sense. Let's see what happens. Phase 1, Foundation, Q2, Presale and Staking, Q2, Q3. We're currently in this phase, first security audit of smart contracts and bridge infrastructure. It's important that this is shown, just like with Solexi, for example. The mainnet launch is planned for Q3. Okay. Ecosystem expansion in Q4 and this decentralization and governance in Q1. Alright, so they want to be decentralized in Q1. Let's see how that goes. Otherwise, I recommend you take a look at the white paper here. As I said, I would point out that this is a complete meme coin. It does make sense, but something actually has to happen then. So, to answer the question of whether you can invest here, in my opinion, it's still a meme coin. It does have a purpose, but maybe I'll definitely keep an eye on it to see if there are actually any updates coming to this website. Okay, in itself it's not bad, in my opinion, but you should still be careful since it's a meme coin. So don't go all in here, it doesn't make sense. Only invest what you're willing to lose. That's really, really important. Otherwise, feel free to share your opinions in the comments. That's it from my side. Thank you for watching. We'll catch up again in the next update video. Until then, bye bye, and as always, stay crypto.